In the beginning, or in Latin, in principio. These are the first words inscribed upon the opening page of the book of Genesis in the Walsingham Bible. This substantial parchment manuscript is an outstanding example of 12th century English illumination. The initial I transverses the full length of the page and encloses a series of medallions that illustrate the Genesis creation story. But before we examine this in detail, let us first go back to the Walsingham Bible's own beginning and see what clues have been left about its origin. Opening the cover to the first flyleaf, we reveal an inscription, to A. Chester Beatty, from his loving wife, Edith Beatty, 1921. The Walsingham Bible was one of a number of manuscripts Edith purchased for Chester to be given at Christmas on an anniversary or a birthday. A few pages further on, we will see from whom it was acquired. But first, we turn to a rare survival, a 15th century table of contents, likely from a previous rebinding. The Latin text reads, "In this volume, 8 books of the Bible, namely, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, and Ruth." On its verso, we find an old inventory number, manuscript Phillips 4769, indicating that the volume was once part of the famous Phillips collection. Amassed by the bibliomaniac Sir Thomas Phillips in the 19th century, the collection at one point comprised an estimated 60,000 manuscripts and 40,000 printed books. Edith purchased the Walsingham Bible from Fitzroy Fenwick, the collector's grandson. We turn the page again to find a 12th century rental page. The very first line reads, "These are the returns of the Church of St. Mary of Walsingham." Walsingham lies along the east coast of England in North Norfolk. The priory, founded around 1153, was especially well endowed with lands and rents. This rental page is a list of those rents owed and gifts made to the priory by its tenants and patrons. It is from here that the book takes its modern moniker as the Walsingham Bible, one of only a few manuscripts to have survived what presumably would have been a substantial monastic library before the dissolution of the monastery in 1538. Following the rentals page, the text proper opens with a full list of books of the Bible in the left column. As the contents page has informed us, this manuscript contains Genesis to Ruth, so would have been the first of a multi-volume set. Whether the other volumes were completed is unknown. At the bottom of the page, we find the Lion book stamp of Sir Thomas Phillips, and at the top, the Phillips number appears again, alongside evidence of another past owner, Henrique Spelmani Lieber. Sir Henry Spelman was educated at the grammar school at Walsingham and came into possession of this book at some point after the Reformation. The right-hand column contains a rubric, or information about what is to follow, the letter of St. Jerome. And when we turn the page, we find Jerome within an historiated initial, an enlarged letter containing a figure or scene. Jerome sits at a lectern writing in a book with quill and knife, the latter for scraping off mistakes. A haloed dove, a symbol of the Holy Spirit, implies divine inspiration. The horizontal bars of the F are created with a series of ravenous creatures, while its upright is composed of both knotted interlace and zoomorphic, or animal, interlace. The F is the first letter of frater, or brother, and marks the opening to Jerome's letter. Following the letter, which expresses the importance of a thorough study of the Bible, and his prologue to Genesis, we turn back to the page where we began, in the beginning. The opening words of Genesis are written in a style known as diminuendo, meaning they start out large and get progressively smaller as they descend. With words often broken over multiple lines, a 15th century hand has seen fit to add the text again in the lower margin. And now to the medallions of the initial I. The top of the letter is crowned with Christ in majesty upon a rainbow, his halo emblazoned with a cross. He holds a book and raises one hand in a sign of blessing. The next 6 medallions illustrate the Genesis creation story. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and on day 1, he separated the light from the darkness. On day 2, he divided the waters and set a vault between them, calling it sky. On day 3, God created dry land and told it to produce vegetation. On day 4, he separated the day from the night. On day 5, he created the birds in the sky and the fish in the sea. On day 6, God created man and woman. Then he rested. The final medallion skips ahead to chapter 3 of Genesis, the fall of man. A serpent coils around a tree in the Garden of Eden. As Adam and Eve eat the fruit from this forbidden tree, the serpent whispers the sweet temptation of wisdom into Eve's ear. And that is the end of the beginning.